Hello everyone, I'm Brian Reid, this is Brenda Lee. Together with my excellent support team, we make up Horses Know the Way Home. Today we're here to talk to you about Jennifer Oiko's Healing with Horse Tele-Summit series. And the particular interview we're talking about today is where she interviews David Harris. And David uses horses to help teach leadership to corporations and organizations, as well as individuals, I'm sure. This is one of those interviews where, on all of these interviews, there was so much content in each one that I would just pull off to the side of the road and I would take notes. And I'd pause and I'd take notes, and I'd pause and I'd take notes, and I'd pause and take notes. David's interview, I paused and I thought, and I just paid attention. Because he spoke about how it's heartfelt mindfulness in leadership. And he talks about heartfelt and the mindfulness. And he talked about he was driving in England, going to his corporate job, doing excellent at it. And the sun was coming up over the River Thames, and he says, why am I doing this? More, I think he said, why am I doing this to myself? In other words, he was doing something that may have made sense on many, many levels, but in his heart it didn't make sense. And he chose to get a horse and get into this field, in which in England the field wasn't even defined. There was no field. It's just something that felt right to him. And he followed his heart. And now he's doing it full time. We all come to this practice through many, many roads. I don't think many come here because it makes sense. I think we all come here because it just feels right. And he talked about using that same heartfelt mindfulness in our practice. He talked about the horse as being a safe and sacred space for that mindfulness, but to honor that safe and sacred space. And he talks about at length about exactly what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is paying attention to what you're experiencing, as opposed to mindfulness, meaning your brain is full. So mindfulness, the opposite of mindfulness, when you say, I'm out of my mind today, meaning I'm not even paying attention to my impact on the world and the world's impact on me. I'm not aware. It doesn't mean you can't think. It doesn't mean your mind's not working. It means your awareness has been interrupted or clouded. So the idea between mindfulness, paying attention in your body to what you're experiencing, and mindfulness, where your head is full. This is mindfulness. Mindfulness, paying attention to what you're experiencing, what the horse is experiencing, what your clients are experiencing, and being there through your heart, heartfelt mindfulness. And noticing in that mindfulness, what are you experiencing when you're with the horse? What's going on in you, and what's the impact of that? Asking the customer, the patient, the client, what are they experiencing? What's the impact of that? David also went on at length of talking about the responsibility we have of how am I impacting the situation. It's not what's happening out there, but it's my reactions. Jack Canfield, in his book, 64 Success Principles, talks about a formula. E plus R equals O. The events plus your response equals the outcome. Your response is the biggest factor there. The events are predetermined. They have a little bit of influence. The outcome is going to be influenced by your response. And taking full responsibility that my response has the biggest impact. That means you can get rid of being a victim. You start paying attention to your reactions. In learning how to interact with Brenda, I had studied a lot of natural horsemanship and a lot of traditional horsemanship. And there was this one line that says, if you're not getting what you want, I believe it came from the Pirelli system. That's how I heard it. I'm sure it came from somebody else then filtered into their system. But if you're not getting what you want with the horse, it boils down to two things. You're either asking the wrong question, or you're asking the right question the wrong way. Or another way of saying that, you're either asking the wrong question or you're asking the wrong question. Either way, it's me, not Brenda. So why, Brenda, why are you doing that? No, what am I doing to impact this? What am I doing to impact my client? Telling the client, it's all you. And when you do that and it's all you, then you have the power. Because once you think And David goes on at length at this. Once you think as that person, that place, or that thing, you become the victim. And now you're waiting for that person, place, or thing to change. You're trying to change the events or waiting for them to change. You'll instantly feel powerless, instantly feel a victim, and the world will feel like a monster to you. But when you go, it's all me, now you can make a difference because you can change your response at a moment's notice on any situation. And there's where it takes mindfulness. And then David goes on at length, even breaking down the brain, how the brain was formed, and how the base of the reptilian brain is basically breathing functions, eating, digestive functions, and then the neocortex, how we think. And then there's the limbic part of the brain, where we feel, where there's no vocabulary, where we experience the world. And he goes on to say that he thinks that it's actually called the hippocampus, which is actually hippo, which was Latin for horse. And how interesting that is, that humans, the part of the brain where you experience things, actually has the Latin word for horse, because horses are about experiencing it. They don't care what you think, they care how you feel. How are you experiencing? Are you mindful? And then while you're doing that, we learn by doing things. You can study all the things in the world about what it's like to get a tan. Until you've walked out in the sun and felt it on your skin, you haven't experienced it. So horses are all about, reality is how they experience you. And are you on the same level as them? And helping your clients by helping them experience the truth of what's going on. And then using their linguistics to interpret that so that they can recreate those situations, they can take control. David goes on and has some excellent exercises to help in your heartfelt mindfulness that were phenomenal. I'm not even going to go into those. I'm going to ask you to buy the entire Tele-Summitt series, go to David Harris's practice, do his exercises, and really learn how to focus on what matters, and that's how you're feeling, how you're experiencing it, not your interpretation of it. First, you have to experience the truth of it. Below the Adam's apple, actually in the hippocampus, which would be horse again. How interesting. David, thank you so much. Jennifer, thank you so much for putting this all together. David, it took me this long to get around to making yours because it really made me think about how I experience Brenda, how I experience my clients, how I experience what I'm creating in the world, and knowing that it's all my responsibility. That's what the power is, so I have to pay attention here. And when I do that, Brenda seems to connect. She just wants me to pay attention to me, so I'm actually present to experience this relationship. I hope you all listen to David's. If you want this entire Tele-Summitt series, go to horsesknowthewayhome/healing, and you can purchase the entire 30 interviews. 30 interviews all over an hour long from people who have dedicated their lives to helping humans through the way of the horse. Again, that's horsesknowthewayhome.com/healing. Jennifer, thank you. David, thank you for reminding me about mindfulness and giving me some cue words, not cute words, but words that act as cues for me. Pay attention, right here. And I love the hippocampus. I'm going to actually look that up and see if that's true. Thank you.